So I'm getting my berries going here. So this is 4 cups of frozen berries. You can use fresh. Now this is mixed berries. This is raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. And I use the frozen 3-berry blend that I get from Kirkland's. And I really like their berries. So that's what I'm putting in here. So I'm going to, if you're using fresh berries, you don't have to do this step. You just add your sugar right in if you're using fresh berries, but you can use fresh berries. This is 4 cups of frozen mixed berries, and I'm doing 1 3/4 cups of monk fruit sweetener. And I like the monk fruit sweetener because it's like a 1-to-1 ratio. You can get this at Walmart, where I got it. Monk fruit blend, see, it is a 1-to-1 ratio. So if your recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar, then you add 1 cup of this. And if you don't want this to be sugar-free, you just use sugar in the place of the monk fruit. But I'm doing monk fruit today, and I did 1 3/4 cups. So, and then you're going to use about 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And I'm just going to bring these, since I'm using frozen, I'm just going to stir them and get them going here and let them kind of thaw out a little bit. And they'll just melt. And I'm adding about 1/2 cup of water. Put my water in there. If you don't want to use water, you could use about 1/2 cup of some kind of, use some Welch's grape juice or even orange juice. Citrus goes really good with berries. So I'm just going to stir this together until they're melted, and then I'm going to put them in the baking pan, and then we'll put the crust on top. All right, y'all, so I got the berries all done, and I tasted them, make sure they didn't need a little bit more sweetener, and they're good. And I just poured them in a 9x13 pan. So this is the berry mixture right here, and now we're gonna make the cobbler part, the breading part. This cobbler is more like a biscuit dough cobbler, okay? So it don't have any, it's not a crusty, it doesn't have like a flaky crust. This is more like a biscuit topping kind of cobbler, okay? So I'm just gonna set this over here on the side. So now I'm gonna make the topping for it, okay? So you need 1.5 cups of self-rising flour, and I use Hudson cream always, and my mommy calls it flour, and she said it's the best flour ever was. And yeah, I've always used Hudson cream, and it is some good flour, y'all. And yeah, my mommy calls it flour. She still does. And so you're gonna need about 1.5 cups of that. And I'm just gonna put it in here in my mixing bowl. And now this cobbler is really good with ice cream. You can pour some cream over it. Mom and them used to pour actual cream over it. And I am going to put a little bit more of monk fruit sweetener in here, just to sweeten the dough a little bit, and maybe just a little bit, maybe 1/4 cup or a couple of heaping tablespoons, you could say. And I'm just going to stir that in just a little. Now I already got a stick of butter melted, 1/2 stick of butter actually. I melted 1/2 stick of unsalted butter. I'm going to pour the butter on top of it. Now the oven is already heated to 375. Now I'm going to do about 1/2 cup of buttermilk. You can use whole milk. I like buttermilk. And you just stir this until it's blended, okay? You don't want, it's just like biscuits. You want your topping to be tender and fluffy, okay? You don't want it to be tough. And you want it to just do what it's supposed to and be really good. So I'm just going to stir this in. Now, I add enough buttermilk until I think it's wet enough, okay? Like I said, you can use whole milk. It don't matter. It's up to you. And you want to just stir it enough to get it wet and kind of where we make sure there's no dry pieces of the flour left. And that looks good. You want it kind of thick, but you want it wet and where there's no pieces of dry flour left. So you want it like that where you can drop it. See? That's it. So I probably ended up adding about probably about a cup of buttermilk. Now that buttermilk is whole, full fat buttermilk. Whole regular milk may take a little less because that's pretty thick. That buttermilk there's pretty thick. So all I do now is I'm just going to drop my biscuit topping right on top of my berries. Now, y'all, when I was growing up, we used to go berry picking. Berry picking was the highlight of the summer. And when we went berry picking, everybody went. All my cousins, a bunch of us used to go berry picking. We'd put on those big rubber boots. And in the summertime, growing up in the mountains of southeast Kentucky, we went berry picking, y'all, because we put berries. We always put apples. My papa had an apple tree in his yard, and then we would put apples up in the freezer, and then we would put blackberries in the freezer. And we'd have blackberry dumplings, we'd have blackberry cobbler. And my sisters and I would just go to the freezer a lot and just get a bag of frozen berries or apples and just get them out and eat them. That was our snack. So I just did that right there. You just pour it right on like that, see? And now you're just gonna drizzle your butter on. And yeah, we would go, so apples and blackberries in the freezer and peaches. We'd put peaches up a lot. But we didn't grow peaches, we'd usually buy them somewhere. And that was just a half a stick of butter. We'd put peaches in the freezer. And that was our snacks. That was our candy back then. We didn't get a lot of candy, but we sure liked the fruit. We love frozen fruit. And I always put salt on my apples too. So anyway, but I'm gonna put this in the oven, bake it. The oven is preheated at 375. You wanna bake it probably about 30 minutes or so. Just watch it until your toppings, till these turn into fluffy like biscuits right on top. And I don't put anything else in it. I don't put any cinnamon or nothing like that in it. I don't think it needs it. I just like the simplicity of the berries and the biscuit toppings. So it's going to go right in the oven, y'all, and it comes out. When it comes out, you can see it. All right, y'all, the blackberry cobbler is done. And look at that, looks good. Well, this is actually mixed berry cobbler, but you could do whatever, but look at that. Just ready just to scoop it out. Put a little ice cream on it. That's easy. That's easy mixed berry cobbler, y'all. Good, bud? All right, so Roger's already been chomping down on the blackberry, cobbler, but he's gonna give y'all his opinion about it.
I may have to eat another piece to let you know.
Nick scarfed his down.
It's already gone.
They're eating peach too, so.
As Papo said.
As Papo said, yeah.
That's great.
So there you go, y'all.
For sugar free.
It's great.
Yeah, to be sugar free, that
You wouldn't know
blackberry
it.
is really good.
No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it.
It's
It's
really
fantastic.
easy.
When we growing up, we get out pick them